This is it. We're rolling.
Okay.
We're in this now.
We're in the zone. It's podcast time.
Yep.
It's time to talk about life, love, and the pursuit of noisy goodness,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Look the fuck out.
Yeah. I want to say up top that I think I have now completed the John Roman trading card set of bands on the podcast. At least ones that you're currently active in, I believe. If I'm missing any, let me know. I've done you solo.
I think we're solid.
We've done Rated I, done Brown Angel, and now 2/3 of the one and only Microwaves in the building.
Yeah.
Make some noise for the internet, everyone. Happy to have you both here.
Oh, happy to be here.
Yep.
What's new and exciting?
What's new and exciting? We just released a record.
Yeah. Is it this record that's down here by my feet?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Let's look at it. Great art. Looks really cool. There it is. You can't really see it.
Art's by a guy named Neil Burke from Rhode Island. Used to be in a band called Men's Recovery Project. Did a lot of artwork for them as well when he was in that band.
It's been a while since you've had your band name on the cover of an album, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's true. It's been a while.
Why is that the first observation I make?
It was a
because I'm familiar with your
decision.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last two were our they had like kind of the same graphic on them, but different. It was our like Queen Day at the Races, Night at the Opera, back to back thing.
Yeah.
Now it's time to move on from that. That nonsense.
Sure. You're what's another one like your Defenders of the Faith, Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah,
Turbo.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Is Turbo the one with the ice cream cone?
Yeah, it's like the hand and the nails. And,
Yeah.
I don't know if there's like an ice cream cone looking thing to you on that. I always think of the nails, the hand with the nails.
Okay. See, I always think that like there's something that looks like an ice cream cone or a dildo. But it's obviously done by the same artist.
Yep.
Yeah. I really like those album covers.
Yeah. Really, really sweet.
Yeah.
Anyways, Microwaves, you got this record. This is out. Or it's out. This has been released.
Yeah, it's been released. Like if you go on the Bandcamp, all the tracks are there.
Fuck yeah.
There were just 2 up until Friday. Now it's all
so fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hot off the press. So the one thing that I want to start our conversation today with actually is not only has Microwaves been a band for quite a bit, I think as long as I've been active in whatever music scene is, I've been reasonably aware of your band.
All right.
And on top of that, you're a very productive and reasonably prolific band compared to some others that I know in the scene. And I'm curious, what is it about the energy of Microwaves that allows you to be able to like create and release stuff so consistently?
It's just lunkheadedness, stubbornness.
Yeah.
We don't stop. And maybe we should. I don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, we could probably put more records out, but it takes time and money. And,
Yeah.
if we didn't have jobs, we'd probably have another 3 records out. Maybe.
Sounds fair.
Easily. Yeah.
Yeah. There have been times when we've actually thought about quitting or tried to quit, and we still
played a farewell show in 2004.
Yeah. We still somehow ended up being this band, and I think it's just kind of like there's no one else around here that's that jives with these ideas.
Sure.
It's like if I wanted to do a lot of things I do in a band, like musically, like he's probably like my go-to guy. So no one else is gonna seem to really get it as much.
Yeah. And then I figure if you're gonna be creating stuff anyways, why not just, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I suppose is the proper analogy to use.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We already have the infrastructure. We got a vehicle that is currently in the shop, but we we got a vehicle, we have back catalog, we have the instruments, we have a place to practice. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there is a tendency with a lot of people that I know, people that I've had on the show over the years, to overcomplicate the ideation and creation and just actualization of their art,
Mhm.
right? And I'm curious what your ideation, creation, and actualization process is like as microwaves in terms of just like coming up with songs because some of the shit's weird
Yeah.
just a little bit, and like how often you, I mean, I'm kind of asking like a half dozen questions in
Yeah,
one,
that's- yeah.
but what is like the standard process of like microwave song?
Well, most of them, though not all, most songs start with me doing a demo. And it's usually just guitar and like a half-assed like drum part that I program,
Yeah.
you know. And the only thing about the drum parts that I program is that they're in the right time signature for the part. They're not like necessarily like anything that he would play or that any real drummer would play, because I'm not a drummer. So it's just something that goes along with the guitar part.
Usually keeps the pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Occasionally I have a vocal idea early on, but most of the time not. John writes more of the lyrics than I do, I think.
It's like 60-40,
Yeah.
something like that.
And even the ones that I do write, he'll go over them and doctor them up so that
Yeah.
they work better, you know.
That's interesting.
And
So
vice versa.
everything about microwaves is really hangs on rhythm and like very interesting time signatures and just kind of like it's almost meditative in its chaos, right? In a lot of ways. So I'm really curious about like the lyrical aspect of things, because it's not like there's a whole lot of melody being thrown into the mix, right?
Right.
We're kind of adding more to the rhythm and the aggression of things. So, you know, how often do these songs start to change like once the demo gets out of your hands and then into John's hands, and like real drum ideas and then maybe some lyric ideas? Do like the guitar parts ever seem to maybe shift or more from there?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and everything doesn't stay like necessarily in the same order that it happened on the demo. And you know, some of my demos are pretty short just to get the idea across. And then there's other ones. There's a song on the new record that's like 9 minutes long. That one, I think I had 8 more parts on the demo than are on that song. We just cut them all out.
Gave it a haircut.
We got to where it was long enough, and we're like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 minutes is long enough.
Yeah, that's, there's a kind of a lost art in the sense of writing a song that is more than what seems to be 90 seconds nowadays, especially in like from a pop standpoint, which is like very different than the world that we're
Sure.
talking about today. But all of that stuff, I think, still kind of gets influenced into songwriting, because even if you're doing this more chaotic, odd time signature type of music, you still probably want like some sort of a lick to be catchy. You want to create like an earworm
course.
of this
Oh
weird
yeah,
rhythm,
yeah.
right?
If anything, maybe like we maybe were too dense with the like the hook stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Because we try to cram a lot of it in, but that's just what we like doing, though. So.
That's the thing that's fun about music like microwaves, is that you are getting like, opposed to like maybe a more traditional pop format where like you have a song that maybe has 1 or 2 hooks or catchy riffs. It's like you're taking like a dozen ideas or more and cramming them into like 5 minutes of music. And it's very intentional. And I think like it's unfortunate that sometimes that type of music requires a brain that's patient to like pick apart those things, because like maybe to an outside ear it could seem like, what is all of this randomness? And it's like, it's actually the opposite. It's very, very intentional.
Yeah, it's not random.
Oh yeah,
at all.
it actually, it's not really random.
Very deliberate.
Yeah.
Even the craziest ones, like they make sense to me when I make them up.
That's the other thing too, is like, I think like if one were to try to learn a song that you had written, it may seem almost impossible, because it's not the way that they write things, or the rhythm didn't come from them in like their heart or their soul or whatever cornball shit you want to say. But for you, it's almost probably like second nature. Like, of course, that's the way this rhythm goes because this is how we write songs.
It's
Pretty
not,
much.
it's not always second nature though. Sometimes there's an obvious next step. But there are other times where you know, like you'll have an idea and it takes a little while to get it to work.
Sure.
Some things come a little easier.
You find that I would imagine that like in a space of the type of music that you do, there's almost like no rules, but I imagine that could sometimes be like an option paralysis type of thing. Like we could go anywhere with this. So
True.
what do we do?
True. You know, that like there have been times where it's that's happened. But yeah, like I think in general there is kind of like a no rules rule, you know, where it's like, I mean, like we've had a lot of different types of song structures.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like we've kind of messed with like traditional pop song stuff, you know, not that the music itself was poppy, but
Yeah, there's probably
the way it's laid out.
Yeah.
There's two songs on the new record that are kind of verse chorus.
Yeah.
The Let Them Eat Space and A Plane Made of Bricks. They're kind of pop songs. I mean, with dissonant chords and things, but they're kind of pretty like 2.5 minute, 3 minute straight song, verse chorus, bridge, verse chorus.
Sure. You know, there's kind of like those in my head. There's certainly more than two ways of writing a song, but for like the way that I approach songwriting, there's either like the what I will call like the trail format and then like a roller coaster format. And like for me, the trail is like you go from point A to point B. And sometimes that trail might loop around, but sometimes you're just getting to another
Right.
destination. But the roller coaster is like it all loops back around at the end and ties it down.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
With all of the music that you've like done over the years, I guess let's go back. Let's do like a fucking Spider-Man origin story type thing, right?
Fucking Spider-Man.
I'm really curious about like when the who, what, when, where, why of Microwave's origin.
Okay.
When'd you start?
Well, we started, our first show was in September of 2000, but we started playing together in the spring of 99. And John was in a band called the 1985. I occasionally would fill in for one of their guitar players with them, but I was never a member of that band. And then I don't know what happened, but eventually John wasn't in that band and asked me if I wanted to do something. Basically.
Cool. I quit because I was right and they were all wrong. And started a different band.
When Microwaves started, was, I guess the best way I can ask this question is how different is like the sonic palette of Microwaves today from what it was in 1999 when you wanted to start this band?
Back then we were a little more like maybe what you might call post-punk, and the songs were definitely simpler.
Yeah.
Like I think I was trying to like, I don't know, naively trying to play like Keith Levine or something, that only on certain songs. Like
there was a lot of drumming I did back then that was could now be played on like, you know, a 3-piece drum kit, and it would be fine. You wouldn't be missing anything.
Yeah.
You know, I've added on a couple other toys to my kit and, you know, learned a few things since then. So it's probably out of boredom.
Natural evolution as well, I suppose.
Natural
right?
evolution or boredom. You know, you just kind of finally get tired of doing something, and then you hit a wall, and you kind of drive yourself crazy.
Sure.
And so, you know, in order to keep it going, you you learn new things.
Yeah, you find new things to hit.
Yeah.
You just add them on.
Or more importantly, new ways to hit them.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned earlier that Microwaves had played what was supposed to be your last show in 2004.
Yeah.
All right. So then what was the experience of being in a band, I guess, in that time frame? Like late 90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000s. Yeah.
And because I mean, obviously you were playing in bands prior to Microwaves, right? So this is more of a question just about your experience in the music scene. And at that point in 2004, when the band was maybe going to be playing its last show, right? Was this like an intended like exit just from this band, but keep doing music? Or were you just like, we're kind of done with
No,
the scene?
we John and I actually had another band going at that time. It was a 4-piece and with a lead singer. And when we had decided that Microwaves was going to stop, we were doing that instead. And then that band ended up turning back into Microwaves like a year later.
Yeah.
Is what happened. Yeah.
Gotcha. So it was maybe more of that, like hitting a creative wall or just trying to find something new to do.
Our first bass player had a much more successful band he was in, and he didn't have as much time to do this. And it was just like, we were like, okay, let's just stop. It never occurred to us to just, get another bass player, and we've had 6 of them now.
Yeah,
So.
for some reason, we thought that we wouldn't be able to pull it off.
Yeah,
with a different third person. So the idea was, let's start a completely new idea. But then when it went back to just being 3 people, we just kind of there have been some changes, like the whoever's been the bassist kind of dictates a little bit of the direction that we've gone in, but not entirely. But they kind of have to be able to stand up to everybody else that's been in the band,
Sure,
on some level.
but all of them also, even though it's a little different with all of them, they all get the joke. They get what we do.
Yeah.
And so it's we don't pick like the wrong people to work with,
Yeah. But it's also been a case of whoever's been around and available.
True.
Yeah. You gotta figure. I mean, I imagine it's it's difficult finding people to work with in sense of somebody that like you genuinely get along with and who's somebody's like their creative ideas you gel with and that you respect, because if you're bringing them on board to be a third of what the sound you're producing,
right,
that's an important thing. That's not just like, oh, you're a 6-piece band and they're just filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
It's like the rhythm section of Microwaves really holds so much stuff down, because a lot of times what's happening with the guitar is more or less just like, it's it's in its own world in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, but we do a lot of rehearsing that is just guitar and drums. We didn't do that when we first started as much. Although I guess there were times we did that, but there's a lot of times now where we've learned to like hold it down as a duo, but that third person is definitely a crucial part of really completing the sound.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And we like it, and just about every bass player has done this. We like it when they do vocals as well. So I'm not the only vocalist. It's much more fun and interesting, I think, for both me and the bass player to do the vocals, sometimes at the same time, sometimes not, sometimes back and forth.
Sure.
Yeah.
From like my perspective as an outsider who has seen your band plenty of times with various bass players and all of this, I really like the dual vocal aspect of things, just because it like as if there wasn't already enough going on. It's nice to have even more just color in the mix, right? It's fun for me. I enjoy it quite a bit, and I imagine it's for the same reasons that y'all do as well. In regards to just playing in bands, right?
Mhm.
None of us are getting any younger. You've been doing this for a long, long time. We're still putting out records, which means
Mhm.
you gotta promote those records and you gotta go play shows and pack up your gear and drag it across town, sometimes across state lines.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like does it feel like an obligation to do these things for the two of you, or do you feel like this is like you still have that youthful sort of ignorance of like
I don't know about
rock
you.
and roll,
I don't know about
baby?
youthful, but I still like it. And yeah, there's some days where the drive might be a drag, or you if you go out for a week, you're gonna have a dud show or two.
Yeah.
But then there's shows that are really good, and like sometimes they're in unexpected places. Like played in Ithaca, New York, a couple times in the past couple years, and you might not think that would be a big town to play, but I don't know, you play on a weeknight and all kind of people come out because
the shows have been solid there.
there's nothing else going. I'm not saying there's nothing else going on in Ithaca, but like I don't know that a lot of touring bands hit there, but there are a lot of people there who are real into music, and if you play there, they'll come out, which
Hell
is
yeah.
nice.
In regards to like the Pittsburgh music scene, I always enjoy asking this question to different people, especially people that have a little bit more tenure, I suppose we could say.
Mhm.
The big thing that you'll get is a lot of people that do this like, oh, it used to be better back in the day. And I'm curious just about your simple opinion on that.
I would say there's never any. I don't think there was any golden era.
Yeah, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. I mean, it comes and goes.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
and as there's some of the same old faces as 20 years ago, and some new faces, and these things overlap, and they sort of, I don't know, some of these people kind of disappear for a while, and then they sort of miraculously reappear, and they're parts of things again.
Yeah, I find that the curious thing for me is that it seems like over the past 10 years, probably longer, but we'll just keep it short, is like there's like a very dramatic lack, in my opinion, of promoters, like people that just put shows together that
Yeah.
aren't also like in a band. And I know,
Oh,
I know
that's
you know what the fuck I'm talking
absolutely
about,
true.
John. And it's just interesting because I feel like without having like a promoter that works with like a stable venue or somewhere to like cultivate some sort of community, there's like nowhere for like the scene to exist.
I think that's true, and it's not just in Pittsburgh that it's true. I think we've noticed it other places.
Yeah.
Most notably New York City. Not that there's, I mean, New York City, we love it. We'll continue to go there, but like, it seems like that's one place that maybe 20 years ago, there was a bit more effort in terms of promotion, things like that when we go
Yeah.
up to play a show.
It
But then
can
New
be
York
rough
is
right
a
now.
lot of the venues have trouble up there. Like a lot of the nice venues that that we have played in the past that were sort of destinations in themselves don't exist as much anymore. Like Death by Audio or
St. Vitus.
St. Vitus, which is no longer in
Yeah.
existence.
Yeah.
Those were places that people knew about and wanted to go to as a place.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they'd want to come see your band, but like those were known as good places to go see your band, which helped. And nothing wrong with any of the other venues we play there, but they seem to be less destinations and more like just your neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get that like, oh, where are you playing this weekend? Oh, we're playing at Howler's. Oh, okay, cool. I was gonna be there anyways.
Right.
Like
Right,
you don't really
right.
get that anymore, you know.
Well, not only that, but places like Death by Audio and St. Vitus in New York. The cool thing about those places is I think they had a reputation of new music, and things that were, I guess happening to a degree, where these are the shows that would play where before the show, I would see people lining up before the doors were open. And once the doors were open, I would see people line up at the merch tables, um, in a way that you don't get at your typical dive bar.
Yeah.
Like all of it's such an afterthought, and people kind of get there when they get there. Um, these are people that, like, they might not know who we were, but they knew that there was something going on and that this place had a good reputation, and it probably hasn't the reputation of that place didn't let those people down.
Yeah. I think that it's there's a whole nother fucking can of worms in regards to, I imagine this is not just a Pittsburgh problem, but so many of these venues now that do exist for underground bands to play can't do all ages. So how do you get young kids interested enough, but that by the time they turn 21, they still want to go to shows?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that was one thing that was nice about Ithaca. When both times we played there, they were all ages shows. One time was at this like tea house, but they had a stage and a PA, and it was a decent show. The other time was at a record store, and there was a local promoter who booked it and found local bands to play with us. And, he did a good job of like getting people to come out. And a lot of them were kids, like very young. Oddly, our New York show that we just played was a daytime matinee, and there were like 8 or 9 kids there that their parents brought. It's kind of funny. They're playing with balloons as the bands played. It was amusing. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. I'm not in any fucking position to know how to fix any of this. I don't think it's my
Right.
job to. It's just things that I'm always thinking about, just because, you want people to continue to come out to shows.
Oh, yeah.
If not even just for my fucking stupid band, but just for all the stupid bands in general, stupid bands as a
Right.
whole.
I think part of it is like a lot of states, and Pennsylvania's one of them, have, screwy liquor laws. So we're playing a bar, and you got to be 21 to be in the bar. Like the other states will have like, 18 and over situations, where you get a different mark if you're under 18, or under 21. I should say.
Yeah, I don't know. But with all of that being said, you're still here. You're still out there trying to do the thing. Not even trying, you are doing the
Yeah,
thing.
we
That's
are
another
doing it.
another
We're doing
goddamn record you put out. I think that your band has probably released more music in the past 10 years than one of my band ever has, period, probably. But hey, that is what it is.
We had a slow period for a while. Like after 2006, we slowed down quite a bit, and we didn't have a bass player, and we were a 2-piece for a while. And then, it took a while to get through that, and then back into having somebody in the band. And then, because I think by the time the record came out that we were a 2-piece, we were bringing Johnny into the band. Isn't that
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and that skipped a whole bass player, because we had somebody else we were a 2-piece. Then we had somebody else for a year that we practiced with.
Yeah.
Then he had to leave, and we had this other bass player coming in just as we were releasing the 2-piece record, which, we'd have been a 2-piece for like 4 or 5 years.
Mm.
And then the first 3-piece record after that took a while to get out. So there was a long period where we didn't get a whole lot done. But then once we got back to having a bass player, we were fairly busy and pretty good about putting stuff out.
Yeah.
In regards to, so the social dynamics of underground music really hasn't changed too much in the past 20 whatever years. It's been a little bit more than 20 years,
I
but
agree.
we'll cut it at that. It's pretty
Yeah.
much the same
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. But one thing that has changed, for the worse, in my opinion, but it is what it is how you tell people about this stupid shit.
Right.
And I'm curious how Microwaves is navigating the troubling seas of the internet and promoting in the modern age. Did you make a TikTok account yet?
No, we
No.
never have. I don't know. Like, you you hire a PR team.
That does help. I mean,
It really helps.
yeah, like not this record, but the two before that run 31G, and the guy who runs that label has a little PR firm, so that helps. And we actually, since we're not on 31G now, we found somebody else, and they're, as far as I can tell, they're doing a really good job.
Yeah.
I see more stuff on the internet about my band than I ever did.
So it's just a matter of this is kind of a conversation about teamwork and working with other people that aren't in your band, and maybe putting some faith in the hands of others.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that experience been like? 'Cause I'd say like a large majority of bands that operate on the level that Microwaves does don't work with labels or other forces or PR or anything like that.
I think more do than you might think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and we went somewhere where we were understood. Like there's all different types of people that work in that field, and we found someone that it's like they don't deal with promoting like country western acts or anything like that.
It's not an all-purpose outfit. It's
like
very specific.
Focused on the weirdos.
I mean, I wouldn't say like the straight up weirdos necessarily, but like
I know
things that are like a little left of center.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of like finding some avenues that make sense, and then reaching out and saying like, hey, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's kind of the way I look at the whole band too, because it's like we've never really had a place where we like fit in perfectly. So I'm always up to playing with all different types of bands. I mean, it's within reason. It has to make sense.
Sure.
Yeah, like, but we've certainly played with lots of different types of bands. And we continue to do that. There's not one place that we've ever really like finally settled into. We're kind of always the square peg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like if there's like I went to a concert with my girlfriend recently, and it was a good show. It was entertaining. It was at one of the bigger clubs in the city. Big band, lots of people there. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is like every single band looked the same. It all sounded exactly the same. It was very much just like there was really no unique identity between any of the acts. And for me, I was like, this kind of is boring in a way. Like all of these bands are very good.
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that. It's like the joke I kept saying to myself is like all of these bands wrote a good song.
Yeah.
Because it's like the same, like it's like every single song sounds the same. And to me, but I understand it's like not necessarily my world. I'm kind of removed from it. But I think that there is, I don't know, this weird like homogenization of like rock music or metal music over the past 20 years where sometimes those like mixed bill things don't tend to always be a thing.
Right.
Like a lot of times, like I'm always very, very excited if my band gets to play like with a band like Microwaves or a band like Zinnia's Garden or like something where it's like, this is cool. Like this is all like unique art in its own way. And I'm more interested to be a part of that instead of like playing with 3 other fucking bands that sound like Greywalker or Normal Creatures or whatever. That's like, I'd rather not do that. And also I feel like it's a much better way to get new people exposed to your music. If there's 4 bands that all sound the same, the 20 people that like that niche style of music are going to be the only people that are there.
Yeah.
You really can't grow. And I think that with something like what Microwaves does, which I think is like very much like you need to see it live to totally get the full experience of it, in my opinion. And I think that it's good to kind of put that in front of people that might not see go out of their way to see this if they were to just like hear a song. That might be like, this is a little bit too chaotic for me. I don't know. But I think being in the room with it is a whole nother beast. So it's nice to be able to put yourselves out there.
I wouldn't know. I've never gone to see my band.
Right.
So that's, yeah, I mean, maybe you're probably right.
Well, it's probably like in the sense of just like being able to be flexible with that, with being able to be flexible with who you share your art with and where your band is represented and things like that. You could very easily be like, oh, we're only playing like with bands that sound like us, or we're only playing in venues that have X, Y, and Z, or
there are a lot of bands that
if the flyer that looks this way, I mean, there's a handful of bands that I could probably name drop that have never played with us because, for whatever reason. And hey, you're allowed to have that reason, I guess. It's your fucking band. I don't care. But it's just like, it's weird to me. Like, what are we trying to build here?
I don't feel the need to be judged against, these other artists or musicians or whatever. I mean, I just see it as we're doing our thing. Like I don't think that we need to try and like, stack up to someone else's idea of what a good band is.
Yeah.
Because there's just, like you said earlier, there's just so many different ways you can go about it.
What is a good band?
What's a good band?
Cheer Accident.
Yeah, Cheer Accident's a good band.
Sound nothing like us, but we play with them quite a few times. They're very great. They're very good.
Yeah.
What, and like in this example, what to you makes Cheer Accident a good band? What is it that peels your banana about this sound?
For one thing, they are all incredible musicians. They do some pretty impressive things, like it's almost like musical acrobatics, but they also have a way to make something incredibly listenable at the same time. They don't take themselves too seriously on top of that. Like there's a they have a sense of humor about it, like as Dave said earlier, it's like, like these are people that would get the joke, so to speak.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, what then is the joke?
The joke. Good question. Yeah. It's the joke is it's not really a joke, but it's just more of like a certain way of viewing the whole package, the band, the scene, the recording, the show. Think it just has to do with maybe like a little bit more of like a personal vision, as opposed to like you're saying, like trying to fit into boxes, and like, like, okay, well, what's gonna push units or whatever, like get streaming numbers, like it's because it's just so difficult to judge what's going to be hot, what's going to be the next thing. So I would just rather not waste my time doing that. And because I think I'm just going to be just as successful or unsuccessful either way, because so much of that is just chance anyhow.
Yeah. To me, it seems like the
So you may as well do something that you enjoy, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's real hard to predict what's going to work, and you could work your ass off trying to do something that you think is going to make it for you, and you don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
To me, it almost feels like the joke is actually like having like a grounded sense of the reality of the situation. It's almost like the opposite of a joke in some weird ironic way.
Right. Although, sometimes the situation is absurd.
Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, like trying to everything that we're doing as creatives or musicians or artists, it's a very absurd thing. We're trying to climb a metaphorical mountain that most people don't even want to look at. They're like, get the fuck out of here. I'm not stepping on that thing. It's a lot of work. But for those of us that are on it, it's like, I imagine people that actually climb mountains would say the same thing. Like, it's just a rush. Like, you got to be there to experience it. And it's like, yeah, that's like how I feel like, trying to drag a fucking bass cab through the crowd at Gooski's or something like that. This is my mountain.
When we came back after COVID, I used to have a really heavy 100-watt tube head, and I had two of the larger Avatar 2x12s. And our first tour had a lot of steps, and I was like, I'm getting rid of all of this. And now I use a solid state head and a Helix pedal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, these are modern luxuries.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
You weren't playing through a Helix in 1999.
Nope. No. I think the Bean Pod was around back then. And I tried one, and it did nothing that I liked. But the current, what they're doing is fine.
So
yeah.
Okay, here's an interesting segue. Now with the modern advancements in guitar technology, things like the Helix and effects, which you've used an effect or two on a Microwaves record for sure.
Yeah, actually, one of those things back early on that maybe set us apart back then. Not like we're the first people to ever have pedals, but our bass player was using a real synthy filter sweep thing on his bass, and I was using ring mod a lot. I'm gonna say we're not the first people to have done that, but we kind of did it a lot more than anybody else for a while.
Yeah,
sure.
Back then,
especially more than a lot of the bands that we were playing shows with.
Right.
Yeah. I'm curious how, if in any way, these advancements in technology in regards to being able to play through a Helix and load up a bunch of different effects, how that's influenced your writing at all.
I don't know that it really has, because usually when I write, I'm playing. Occasionally I will have an idea based on a pedal, but most of the time I'm just playing at home with a similar distorted sound that I would use in my amp.
Yeah.
So it does sound better at home than it used to. I mean, and the one thing that's made a huge difference, it's actually made it easier to make records. Back when we started, we were still using tape,
Yeah.
And now we go somewhere to track the drums, and I do all my guitars at home. Yeah.
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 On top of that, there were so few studios around town.
Right. Back then that you could afford.
Yeah.
There were these serious pro studios back when we started,
oh yeah,
like Audiomation on the north side.
There was cost prohibitive though.
There was that place by the trolley tracks in Dormont that I can't remember the name of, but it was probably $70 an hour type deal even then.
And you're also even if you have the means to get into that place, you're still kind of handicapped by the knowledge of the engineer and the producer, especially if you're trying to do a new kind of sound.
Right.
And this the same as having bass players who are in on the joke. It's very nice to have somebody recording you who understands the whole deal. Of course, one of the guys who recorded us a bunch was Jason Juver, who was also our bass player for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
With, I remember I've getting to hear some older local hip hop stuff before an in-home studio was more of a common thing. They would go to these places, and you could very much tell that this stuff was engineered by rock producers, 'cause
Right.
there would be like unnecessary sort of like slap back on the vocals, and like the way it was mixed was a little bit, it didn't have that fullness that you would want from that. And
Yeah.
it's like, it's like obviously you tracked this with somebody that just didn't understand the sound.
Yep.
But I mean, that's still even a thing today. I think that like whenever you are, I talk with a lot of people about like who records in the city, and it's like, well, what kind of music do you make?
Right.
You know, it's
Yeah.
almost like getting, I don't know, going to get a burger. What kind of burger do you want? You know, like, you know, there's different places. Do you want some shit, or do you want like something more legit? What works for you?
Yeah.
And it's not just like maybe there are some engineers that are versed enough that they could work with anything and they have that knowledge. But for the most part, I think it could take some time to find the person that you like working with that understands what you're doing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
In regards to drum production, John, you know, do you find yourself having a hard time continuing, if you, I don't know how much you pay attention to new modern heavy music at all, but you know, in the past 20 years, drum production has gotten a little silly, a little animated, a little digital. I'm curious, like your take on that, being somebody that, for lack of a better word, I think is like a very human drummer.
Okay. Some of it is just not for me. But some of those trends I've noticed, they become trends by the technology of the time, and you know, they like these are things that go away as well. Like I remember whenever triggers were first, you know, everywhere, and it kind of became the sound just by having it there. And then after that, there were drummers that was, you know, that were in search of that trigger sound, which I never really understood. But I mean, if it's your thing, you know, you want to put up with all that, and
Sure.
it seems like an unnecessary hassle.
Yeah.
I think some of how that stuff evolves is because it becomes the trend, or like it's a thing that people go for because you can. And like, you know, so like, you know, like the super clicky kick drum.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people are like, oh, you know, I've been trying to make records for years and I just get this like muffled thing. And like, so, and then when you have the ability to do it where you can get like this absurd clarity or whatever it is, then you just push it too far.
Sure. It's like an overcorrection.
The same thing happens in live sound. I used to do sound for a living many years ago. And like, one of the things a lot of like guys in bands that we talk to will complain about, and I agree with them, is like, you go see a band, especially like at a big show or place with a really nice PA that you can do anything with, and there's just way more kick drum in the mix than is remotely natural.
Yeah.
And it's like one of the hardest things to do when you like start out mixing sound, or at least back in the old days, like when I did it, I got out of it just as digital mixing boards were coming in. One of the hardest things to do with like a crappy PA was get a good kick drum sound. And I think a lot of guys went through that. And then now that like things are better and you can kind of do anything you want, they're like, oh, I'm going to make this like my whole focus.
Yeah. Every metal show is now just a tech demo for like an Iron Cobra pedal.
Yeah.
Here, it works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that the technology versus like creativity thing is really interesting. Like, I wonder if we would have like metal at the extreme like speeds and unnecessary chaotic nature that we have if it weren't for the technology to be able to produce it properly.
I think that's part of it. Although like I'm constantly surprised by like demos and stuff that I see on YouTube from like death metal records in the 80s. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like it's there were people pushing, you know, way back then, like to do stuff that couldn't be represented right because, you know, they're doing it on a 4-track or whatever.
Yeah. I've kind of, I think I went through a phase in my later teenage years where I was really obsessed with like good production, but it was also at the same time that I was kind of getting into understanding how live sound works, how
Mhm.
recording music works. So I'm looking at it from like what is possible and not thinking about like it took me some time to come back to like what sounds natural. Like if I'm putting on headphones and listening to this,
Mhm.
does it sound like a group of people in a room or does it sound like a nerd behind a computer?
Right.
Like just like tweaking things and making it all perfect. And I don't know, there's a good place for both of those things.
Yeah.
But I guess it ultimately just depends on what kind of music are you trying to make.
Sure.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know what kind of music they want to make. That's part of the problem.
That is part of the problem.
With microwaves, when you track, is it like, are you tracking to a click or a grid or
No.
anything like that? Or is it
Oh.
just, it's all
No,
human feel?
it's the three of us go to record. Although the album before this one, it was just me and John because we had two bass players on that record and they weren't always in town. But generally, me, John, and the bass player go to a studio now. We record, going for keeper tracks on the drums, and the guitar and bass are generally just scratch,
Okay.
and then I redo them later.
So you're like tracking, not like,
But there's not
Like,
no,
like
there's
you're
no
all-
click. We're
so-
not using a click. No.
but whenever
No.
you're tracking drums, you're tracking to the guitar and bass being
Yeah.
played.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you're not
yeah.
just tracking
So
like,
we
raw
yeah.
dog in it.
because we're used to playing
No,
together.
no.
We're used to playing together.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense,
It
yeah.
makes the most sense.
It's
Yeah.
just good to have a reference point there because if I were to go in, there are certain songs that I can make it all the way through. Other ones not so much, like on my own. But it's good to have someone else there as a reference for me, but also at the same time, if I didn't have them there, I might play it at a different speed that they
Yeah.
weren't comfortable with.
You're not getting that
and
natural
the accents
push-pull.
might feel different just
Yeah.
because when we're playing together, there's things that get emphasized and we're doing it together as opposed to
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
There's no especially if you're not doing like the more modern, like to a click on the grid,
Nope.
chaotic thing. And I imagine though, like there is like an evil world, right? Especially with the kind of music that Microwaves makes, where you could do some really fucked up shit if you intentionally did do like kind of like a more hyper produced approach to some of the songs.
Oh yeah, and
I'm curious if you've ever experimented with that, or if it's just like this isn't it's not broke, don't fix it type thing.
I think part of it is like we just know what we like.
Yeah.
I know what I want my guitar to sound like. I think bass player Zach knows what he wants to do.
There are certain bands I've heard like especially in that sort of like techie death metal world, and I really think that they just go too far with
Well,
it.
sure, it's like electronic music basically.
Yeah. And I could name some names, but I don't want to name any names.
Sure.
But yeah, I've heard records where it's just like it just sounds like electronic music, like you said.
I mean, it basically is.
Right. Right.
It's wild. I recently helped some friends out. I did like a photo shoot for them. And a couple of the guys, they all play in like other bands and stuff. And one of them was talking about another band that he's in. And they're like releasing demos and they're doing all this stuff like DIY. And it's more modern metal, death metal stuff. And like everything is MIDI on the demos that they're releasing. The guitars, the drums, everything imagine if they could MIDI automate the vocals, they probably would. But it's all like, and it's really interesting because if you listen to it, it sounds like anything else that you would hear,
Right.
which I suppose is like cool. But then to me, I'm like, this just sounds like everything else. It has no unique identity.
Yeah, it's
So
like fast food.
What's the point here? What are we trying to do? I just don't understand. Like, this already exists. Why do you need to do it again?
Yeah.
Why bother? Other than just like, oh, well, we want to, I don't know, we just want to be a part of this thing, but not contribute anything unique to it. It just seems strange to me and selfish and weird. I don't even know if I'm smart enough to have this conversation.
The thing is, we know a bunch of people who are pretty insane musicians who can do some pretty insane things, and they don't do it to a click necessarily. They just do it,
They don't play it to a click. They don't play electronic drums.
And there's nothing wrong with electronic drums. That's
Right,
fine
right.
if that's the sound you want,
Totally.
But like,
But if you're gonna do that, like I say, make it sound even more electronic.
yeah. I mean,
Sure.
but yeah, I've seen some very good musicians do some pretty crazy things without having to do all that stuff.
I think it's cool. Like, yeah, if you're gonna lean into that aesthetic, go for it. I think about like those early Fear Factory records where it
Mhm.
was just like, like really hyper industrial metal, unapologetic. And I'm like, this is kind of sweet because like it wasn't like we're trying to sell like, oh, we're human beings making human music that sounds like robots. This is all like it's like they're talking about like AI taking over
Right,
in the
and
90s. And it's like
that
that's their whole aesthetic.
That was
It's
part of their package.
Yeah.
part of the thing. Yeah. And like that was cool. I mean, now what those records did and how that shaped what would become modern metal for like up until now is kind of fascinating
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. I'm sure there were bands doing that before Fear Factory, but I think like from the production side of things, I think
Yeah.
having the frontline assembly guy
They were-
helped them with those
They,
records.
they-
okay.
they were coming in at the right time for that. I think.
Yeah. They needed like all your Mortal Kombat movies and your Blade movies
Yes.
that they were in. The soundtrack was perfect for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So this album is out now. People can listen to this on Bandcamp along with
Yes.
a lot of other music if they would like to.
Yeah.
Yes.
You playing any shows around here anytime soon, gentlemen?
We played last Friday, but
Hell yeah.
it's too late to promote that.
Yeah.
Played last Friday at the Brilla Box. It was a lot of fun. It's great.
Yeah. We have a show in June coming up. We're actually playing at the Roboto Project for the
Which is,
first time.
Which is a weird, that's
Like,
been a while.
yeah.
We actually played before we were Microwaves. Was it not the first show at the old Roboto?
We played the first show at the old Roboto.
Yeah, when John and I had been working together, but we weren't
Yeah.
Microwaves yet. And
Yeah.
it wasn't fully formed.
Yeah. Yeah.
We actually played the first show at the OG Roboto.
But yeah, this is the first time we're playing Roboto in a long time. And
Cool.
it's
So there you go, all
Playing
ages
with-
show.
Playing with this band. They're really good. They're called Reaper's Gong.
Oh yeah.
It's like
That's
the one.
Spencer, right?
Yeah,
from-
it's one of the
yeah.
guys from Full of Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Yeah. I mean, again, going back to the all ages thing, I think
Mhm.
that show will probably do pretty well.
I think so.
And hopefully you'll get some new young eyes that are excited about crazy rock music
yeah.
to, enjoy what you're doing. Last question.
Last question.
Yeah. Mosh pits, yes or no?
Why not? Sure. Do we want to do it? It doesn't happen often, but
Yeah,
I'm not going to argue.
I mean, like, I figured.
There was a tiny bit of moshing in Ithaca the other week.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. You paid to get in. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Just be considerate to other people. If they don't want to be part of it.
Moshing has gotten pretty wacky, though. We played a show, I don't know, a year or two ago, one of our earlier shows with Zach, the current bass player, and it wasn't so much when we were playing, but there was some moshing going on during one of the other bands, and it's gotten weirdly stylized with these like weird like arm gestures that like I've never seen before.
Yeah, you know what
Like karate moves and stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like that stuff is by no means new. I remember like
Right,
being at like
right.
Laga and seeing that,
Yeah.
and like, even before then, Roboto,
Right.
Wilkinsburg Roboto. I mean,
Yeah.
I was younger, but I was able to go to shows there. It's kind of maybe in some ways we're talking about like production, right? And like
Mhm.
the overcorrection of the kick drum sound. I think there's kind of been like an overcorrection of like moshing
Yeah.
aesthetic.
Oh yeah.
Where it's like
Yeah.
everybody like sees this thing and like we need to do it, but do it harder and faster. And it's like getting to this point
Well,
now where it's like
and more perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
What I think needs to happen is that like the School of Rock franchises need a moshing program. Like instead of, because they teach people how to like, they play hard rock guitar and stuff.
Right.
They need a moshing program.
Hey,
Yeah. See?
Dan, who runs the School of Rocks here was just in this chair not too long ago, so I could send him a text. And
That's
be like,
right.
We got a really good idea, or maybe a really terrible idea.
Terrible idea. I would like to see somebody try it, but
Yeah.
I like the terrible idea. Idea of terrible ideas.
Mhm. Yeah. I think
We need more of those.
Society is built on terrible ideas.
Yeah. But and it's all in the eye of the beholder. It's like the good ideas are not always good ideas.
Sure. Yeah, and like going back to the moshing thing, it's just funny. I went to a show a while ago. It was like an all hardcore show, actually at Roboto.
Mhm.
All younger hardcore bands, and like it was, a very what seemed like a violent scene, but everybody was having a really good time.
Right.
And I'm just like,
Yeah.
I mean, there haven't been many moments in my life where I've felt like I'm in my 40s, but that was certainly one of them. I was like, okay, yeah, this is just not. I'm glad everyone's having a really good time. If I was
Yeah.
half my ears, I'd probably be enjoying this more. But it's cool to see it. It's cool to see a place like that packed with a bunch of kids that
Yeah.
are passionate enough to
Yeah.
try to give a fuck about something and support. And because I guess like that's part of it too. Like when people are moshing and doing their little routines or whatever,
Yeah.
it's like they're doing this in support of this thing that they care about.
Right.
And it's
Right.
just an
Yes.
interesting way to show it.
Yeah.
I just want to stay out of the way when it's happening.
Right,
Yeah. I don't.
I'm good for getting hit in the head at this point.
Yeah. I don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, Dave, John, I want to thank you guys so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Hell yeah. I'm sure our paths will cross again as they always do. I know, John,
Yeah.
I see you a lot. So
Yeah. I'm always around.
yeah, I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks for another thing because we play in other bands and we're playing a show together at Mr. Small's Funhouse.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I sometimes lose track.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Thank you for doing that for me.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me. And yeah, I'm stoked to get to check this out. I haven't heard the whole thing yet. Obviously, it just came out. Appreciate.
There you go.
Cool.
Very, very cool. Microwaves. Anything else you want to say before we pull the plug on this?
No.
Any life advice? Any advice for up and coming bands?
Wear your spikes.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, with all of that being said, that is all, folks. One more time. Microwaves, make some noise. Yeah. Hell yeah. We're excited.
All right.
I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes Howe. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2026 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. We did it. That was a podcast.
All right.
Cool.
Woo!
Do you need us to do something like really crazy for the thumbnail?
Oh. Why couldn't I have done that earlier?
Just leave it. It's super chill.
Okay.